welcome to another episode of Burn Bridges, brought to you by The Creative Catalyst. I am your host, Michael Crown, and today we have an amazing individual, an amazing soul. This brother happens to have quite a bit racked up in his resume and overall title. I'll try to fit it all. He's a self-taught artist, clothing designer, entrepreneur, business owner, traveler, philanthropist, mentor, and a Don on the come up. Sharard X. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I appreciate that intro. That was tight, bro.
You know, I got to give you your flowers while you're here, brother.
I appreciate that, man. I'm gonna go grab a vase.
Absolutely. You know, it's very important these days. I don't think enough people really acknowledge, you know, the impact and just overall the importance of what you do while you're still here.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's oftentimes after you're gone, they try to pinpoint. So yeah.
It's like a revolving door and a revolving cycle. It's insane. But
yeah, it really is.
It is, and I want to start this night off incredible. My audience doesn't exactly know who you are, and you're very new to the audience, and I want to give a moment and actually, you know, ask you, like, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, where you from?
From Lakeland, Florida. That's Polk County, the heart and soul of Florida. Born and raised here. Went to undergrad at the Florida A&M University, a proud graduate in 2018. Left there, started to get my master's at Florida State. Then COVID struck, kind of had a change of heart and found my way to a pencil, and pencil turned into a paintbrush, and that was 2020. So I'm here now, wrapping up my master's in business administration at Southeastern University back in Lakeland, Florida, and like my man Mike just said, just building up that art resume.
Very good. Okay, so how did you? Have you always been artistically inclined, or was it something that, you know, just later in life the bug bit you?
Yeah, that's the perfect. Yeah, because I was actually a football guy. I played football at Florida A&M and was looking to play a little bit at FSU. Really? I had like a year left. Yeah, man.
I'll admit I'm not a really big sports guy, so you have to, you know, kind of educate me a little bit. Like, what position did you play?
Definitely. I played wide receiver and kick return. When I played, I was about 190, 6'2.5". Yeah. Running about a 4'5", you know.
Okay.
So,
yeah, you had them feet.
I was a walk-on. Oh yeah. I was moving. And then I don't know if you know anything about walk-ons, but they have to make the roster over people who are already on the team and over the incoming recruits. So you basically got to prove that you're either a harder worker or a better player or a little bit of both. You know, I personally did that. Yeah, but that's the chance you take on yourself when you turn down smaller G2 and NAIA offers and take a chance on yourself. So, you know, I've never been shy about putting myself out there or putting my skill sets up to the test.
So would you say that sports pretty much like fostered your your competitive edge?
Yeah, essentially.
So prior to sports, have you always been competitive?
Yeah, I actually have school, any type of event that you can compete in. I mean, I definitely wanted to win, but I think art is one of those. It's giving me, like, there is no winner. Like, there's so many different styles, there's so many different ways to do things that I could be the best I can be one day, and then the next day it's like, okay, what are you doing to get better? Because there's another guy out there, he's painting a masterpiece too. So it's a great challenge.
So, like, in the creative space, like, would you say that, at least from, you know, your early your early chapters of art, would you say that there is competition where you really picked up art the most? Or was competition?
I can't call it competition. Like, at first, coming in from a football perspective, that's what I was thinking it was going to be like. But artists are like, we have like our own community, like literally. And it's more of hey, this is my style. What do you do? How do you get to this? Or how do you make it look like this? Like, it's never been any really animosity or like, oh, this is my block. Like Girl Scout cookies. You guys can't sell at this Publix. We're here type of deal. Or this is, like art speaks for itself. And most people, or most artists, they appreciate other artists' work. So it's a lot easier to really just meet someone and learn from them or pick up some things or, just add them to your network. But no real competition because, how people say I'm my own competition. Like, I'm battling with myself to be better.
Yeah.
That's like for basically being an artist because you judge your work. Other people give you their feedback, but you're the ultimate judge because you say when it's done or if it's still in the process.
100%. So, what was it that actually inspired you to take art serious?
It was a friend of mine actually. She is a very, very great artist in her own respect. And I think that's the only reason I took it serious. She gave me some advice after seeing some of my sketches to start painting. And I was like, I don't know about all that. Like, I can draw, but, painting. Mm-hmm. But because she was so good and I had seen her work, I had no choice but to take her word for it. Like, you know what? If you, as great an artist as you are, think that I should paint, I'll give it a shot. And that was, like I said, that was 2020. Right, February. I met her at the Harambe Festival in Tallahassee. And that was it.
Okay. Like, what was that experience pretty much like diving off the cliff into the world of art?
Oh my goodness. It was like exciting, but like kind of scary at the same time. And not like scary like, Friday the 13th. Scary like most people who are creative or who doodle or sketch, they always say the same thing. Like, all I can do is this, or I don't want nobody to talk about my work, so I just keep it to myself. Like, I don't like my art is for me, not for the world, which I get. Like, I still have pieces that are technically for me, but I put it onto a stage to where anybody can get a feedback on it. But it's kind of like that. It's just like that. The scary part is you're doing something that you feel like is not only new to you, but it's expressive as well. So you're trying to get a message across. And then you got people that walk up and say, is that supposed to be Kobe Bryant? And it's Tupac.
Oh.
So,
whoa.
Right. Exactly. And so in your mind, you see Tupac. But in their eyes, they see Kobe. And now you're in a place where it's like, dang, is my art good enough? Do they see what I see? Do I need to go back and work again? Are they just not creative? You got all these thoughts running through your mind. And that's kind of the scary part of it all. I guess what I'm trying to say, the feedback, the opinions, or even your own. Like, yes. I'm really critical of my own work. Like, most artists are like, man, this is great. And they'll point out 3 things that they don't like about it. Or they'll point out like an uneven 9. And it's like, okay, it's still wonderful. It's like, no, I could have done better. So it's kind of like that. Like, you go from caring about people's opinions initially to only caring about your opinion.
It's a gradual fade, I would say. I would even say for myself, it wasn't so much of a gradual. It was very much of an abrupt, like a switch off. Like, for me, I had to realize, okay, if I want to get to another level, I can't care about everything. So I have to do something, otherwise I'll fall off in some way. So I have to abruptly shove myself off the cliff to make up my mind what I wanted to do. And I didn't have a lot of people that I could shadow or critique or, give me constructive criticism. For me, I spent a lot of time, in my own head, in my own thoughts, and, got a lot of good out of it, but also got a lot of bad out of it. So,
right.
And starting in this game very young, I was very young, and you pick up a lot of bad habits, I would say. You do.
Well, and I can kind of see that happening just from, like you said, you started at a younger age. I was an adult, like a full-fledged, like basically paying all my bills adult. And even still, like, there were certain things like, man, I wish I would have tried this sooner, or man, I wish I would have found this niche earlier because of the people I knew, because of the connections I had, because of the opportunities that I see other people getting now. And had I had this passion, focus, and all these other things that I have now, back when I was in school, or even like right after I got out, it would have been a lot more lucrative, and I could have gotten a lot more support than starting 2 or 3 years removed from having access to over 10,000 black people that are for the culture at one space at one time at any given day. So and then that's the thing too. You got people that you go to school with or went to school with who have capitalized from that social media presence. Like you probably don't know his name, but I'm sure you've seen some of his content. His name is That Boy Funny. He's on Wild 'N Out, but he's done like a lot of viral skits. Like, I don't know if you remember when the whole Alabama brawl went down.
Yes.
And somebody redid it in like a swimming pool.
Yep, I saw that. That was crazy.
Yep, that was him. That was him. He went to FAMU, came in FAMU 17.
Small
He
world.
also he did a video, exactly. He did another one. It was like super viral. But I can't remember. Oh, when the dude jumped over and punched the judge.
Oh, yeah.
Recently, when the dude, he redid that one and it went viral. So he's done a lot of like things. He got that song too, Big Boy on the Roof. I ain't never seen the Big Boy Grill on the Roof. Like Snoop Dogg done posted that a couple times. Marlon Wayne, like, guy went to FAMU, used to do the comedy shows, used to host and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Took his craft seriously, took what he had here, and now he's opening up for DC Young Fly. He on the same show as him, like. People like all of the major like social media comedians, when he posts stuff, his comments. And it's like, man, I went to school with this guy. Like, I know he's funny, but like, he out here in real life. So having that kind of space and that type of audience, because FAMU is not gonna cheer for everything. They will boo you, but having that experience and that exposure, oh yeah, I've seen it. But that experience and that exposure will prepare you for life outside of college. And I just kind of wish I would have done that a little bit sooner, but everything I learned at FAM has kind of helped and propelled me to the opportunities I've kind of garnered since. So
I think that
give and take.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to art, there is no proper formatting, how to get into it, because there's a takeaway and there's a give with every, whichever route that you take. If you're very young, there's a higher chance that you might be slower to build, or you might have to go through the process of getting rid of a lot of bad habits before you can really cultivate really good ones, or you manage to find it later in life and immediately take off and land yourself in a position that most take years just to make the effort that you've already made. And as I've been watching on social media, honestly, I'm in complete awe, because a lot of folks, and I believe I said this to you one time before, a lot of folks who have been doing this thing for years have not gotten to the degree of just the snippet of where you're at right now, because they're still battling they're chasing their tail. Like, they've been chasing their tail for years, battling the same type of thing. So.
Well, and then, but you just said it. At the same time, you have people who have received that guidance and chosen not to do anything with it, or let it fall on, deaf ears, versus a guy like myself. I was a late bloomer to the craft, but I have a lot. I don't need a coffee. I don't need a coach. I'm very self-motivated. So if you give me the formula, or you just give me a piece of what I didn't have, I'll figure out the rest. So everybody doesn't have that same drive. And that's not like a pat on the back for myself. You know, it's just, you can see the difference between people who say they want to do something and somebody who is doing something.
Well, yeah, you're walking the talk, you know, which is, God, today, it's, I think what it is, because of the incessant ratchet that's out here, because there's a lot, with all the ratchet, it makes it very easy to spot out the authentic. You know what I mean?
Right.
Actually being able to walk the talk, because this is not easy stuff, what you do. It's not. You know, it's mentally draining, physically draining, having to hyper focus on something to see it from beginning through to the end and complete it, not just start something and then change your mind and do something
else. Put it
down.
You
know, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How do you balance that? How would you say?
That's a great question, and I find myself not even answering it, but just kind of giving people how I do that on my own. Honestly, how I do it is willpower, because I still work. You know, I want to say I'm living a dream and painting full time, but I'm a supervisor at Walmart by day and an artist as soon as I clock out. But you have to want it. You have to, you know, you come home from an 8 o'clock shift. I mean, an 8-hour shift. You gotta cook. You gotta feed yourself. You know, I got a daughter. Gotta make sure her homework done. I gotta make sure any of the things, any of the orders that everybody done had, or if I'm doing a call to artists, make sure that I got the due date set, and then sit down and start painting. So, say I get home 7 o'clock, I probably won't touch a canvas till about 10:30. And I'll be up till 1, 2 o'clock just to get a couple of hours in of painting, because my day is so jam-packed. But I want to stay up that late. I want to finish this piece. I want to see the end result. And I want to get that paycheck that's coming with it.
Oh, yeah.
Or just that time to express myself. Yeah. So it's a lot of different things that motivate me. But like I said, I'm self-motivated. So looking at this canvas, I'm either seeing something I've been wanting to do for a while and finally have time to do it, or I'm seeing a paycheck, which is more than enough motivation for me, because I painted for free for at least a year, a year and a half, 2 years, just painting, hoping somebody would buy something. And now I got to tell people they gotta wait. You know, I need 2 to 4 weeks minimum.
Isn't that something?
Oh yeah, just. Yeah,
isn't that something where you have to turn down business or put it on pause, where before you really had to like scrape and accept almost anything just to get something off the ground before?
Yes, and it's so humbling, because I remember like hoping, wishing and praying somebody would just ask me to do something for them just to have a chance. And now it's kind of like I'm literally like, yeah, no, I can't. I would like literally telling people I would love to do that, but I can't. And then, to my surprise, you know what they say?
What they say?
Well, what day can you do it?
So they want to compromise.
Yes. They not. I ain't gonna say they need my services, but they want them bad enough to say, okay, well, we can't get you on the day we had. What works for you? That's just now. I whatever day y'all need me to work. Like, that's appreciation. That's gratitude. You know, without beard all in my face. Like,
yeah, it makes you want to make time for it.
Exactly. Now I can move my schedule around. Okay, I'm VIP. I'm a very important painter. Don't worry about it. what time y'all need me here?
Exactly. Well, if you could actually remember that day or the season or when that picked up, when would you say, what was the thing that really like took off for you from, like you said, it was like a year or two of essentially just like struggle, the grind. What would you say really took off for you, project-wise or time, season, anything like that?
It was 3 things. It was 3 different things. and I hope I can tell them in order the right way, because when it started rolling in, it's not that it gets fuzzy, it just gets fuzzy because things started like overpiling each other, especially during February. But I remember it was March. Yep. So it was after year one. I had got my first kind of like partnership with this black-owned company called Play Black Wall Street, where they selected one of my paintings to be on their board game. And I didn't make any money, but I got a free board game. You know, my face was mentioned on the guide with the art and all that other stuff. And then it's year one, so I'm just happy I saw a contract and signed it. Like, okay, I'm an artist. I do this. This is professional.
Right.
But that next month was March, and I kind of had, like, before I was telling people I paint, but I wasn't saying like I'm an artist. So at this point, I'm an artist. So people have events and they're looking for vendors, or they're looking for somebody that knows how to talk to people at the event, keep people around. So I got a box full of paintings in my car, and one of my mentors at my job I was teaching at the time was like, hey, we're doing this thing at the Boys and Girls Club, bring some of your art. I didn't think anything of it, because I had been riding with my art anyway, and it hadn't really been selling. I just ride around with it, hey, bringing it here, bringing it there. So I take it to the Boys and Girls Club. They're having this event. I'm like, again, I wasn't going to set up, so I didn't bring nothing. I just had the paintings and some prints. I made about $300, and I was hooked. Because I didn't plan. First of all, I didn't plan on coming.
Right.
Second of all, I had never made that much money. I think the most I had made up to that point was maybe like $125 in a whole day. I was there for like 3 or 4 hours, made $4. Like, I told somebody how much a painting was, and they gave me more money. And I was just...
So they ended up giving you more than what you were charging before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this entire time, I'm thinking, dang, my price is too high. Ain't nobody buying nothing. I told her 75. She handed me $80 and said, keep the change. Which tells me she would have paid more.
Yeah.
She would have, $125. She just gave me 80. Like, oh, son, you don't even have any idea. Here you go. Just keep it and keep on painting. And then even from that day, like, I was hooked from, wow, this is what success feels like. These people bought these things that I made with my hands. The Boys and Girls Club, the people there, they have like a Student of the Year contest that they do, and they have an artist paint the students. Right. So they said the lady who did it had retired. They was like, hey, they came over, they bought 2 prints. They bought like a Lauryn Hill print and something else I had done. But I remember them buying a Lauryn Hill one because it was just black and white, but they still wanted it. I was like, man. So gave it to them. They got my number and was like, hey, we want you to send us some of your work. Here's the kid who won this year. Can you show us something? Now, I'm just happy that this is Boys and Girls Club. I don't know nothing about sketch fee or deposit or none of that. I'm just happy. Oh, Boys and Girls Club, y'all want to check me out? Okay. But now I just made all this money. I'm possibly working with the Boys and Girls Club. And then when I left, people wanted my number and stuff to come and do things. So I'm feeling like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. And from that day on, I either kept a table or a box of paintings or prints in my car. I always have business cards on me. And honestly, from that day on, I started taking myself just a bit more seriously, because I walked into a paycheck and I had been riding around with that art in my car for at least 2 or 3 months. At least 2 or 3 months. And right after that, one of my pieces got accepted into City Hall in Tallahassee. And it even won an award. I didn't even know what an exhibition was. Like, I was just happy. Yeah. I was sending my art everywhere. Like, I was trying to call the artists, doing virtual exhibitions, mailing stuff out. I had a show in Massachusetts, just mailed it out there. It was a lot going. It was just a lot going on. But when I got the response back from Coca that my piece had been selected for the Creative Tallahassee exhibition in the City Hall, maybe like a week later, I got another email saying that the piece that got selected was selected by the mayor's council to be in his office. So the exhibition was for like 2 months, but because my piece got selected with like 10 others, it was there for the whole year. So I would just go down there and stop by and just be like, wow, like, I'm in the government hall. Like, this is,
oh yeah.
I'm really, like, I'm an artist, but like, I'm really an artist. And like I said, like, you know, you just kind of hear it in the story of how I'm telling it now, like how it's progressing.
Yeah.
Like things just started picking up. People started hearing more about me. I had things to talk about. Well, where can I see some of your work? Oh, you can see it in City Hall. Really? Yeah, go down there and check it out. My name's on it.
Credibility.
You know, versus saying, exactly, credibility, somewhat of a resume. Now I can go and ask a school, can I do your logo, which I eventually did. I can go and propose a business deal to a urban outfitters, which I did. I can go with the confidence to submit for different contests and call to artists without the fear of them telling me no, because okay, you guys don't like it, but my art is up in public. People like my things. So just because you don't mean somebody else won't. So it just, you know, it's confidence boosting. You want to paint more. You want to try different styles. And then I'm finally seeing the residuals, all these hours and all this progression. And it's like, I'm just so happy to have this $300. Like, man, this is, you know, I'm charging anywhere between $10 for a print and $150 for a painting.
Right.
And you know, sold a couple prints, sold a couple paintings, and the money just started adding up. And it was just like, man, like, I can do this.
It sounds pretty much like almost spot on, like how like the rappers used to have mixtapes just on them.
Yep.
Type thing. And
yep.
it's just
and
like,
hand them out or play them, get them to the DJ.
Yep, just give them to the DJ, just whatever. But you always had something on you, because you never know. You will be in a situation that'll catch you off guard, and you got to immediately, boom, here's my work, here's what I do, boom. I got hit with that early on, because too many times, I would say, like, in regards to like a business card, right? Something simple. There was a point where I did not have business cards on me, and people would ask me, and I didn't have a business card on me, and I'm talking about almost instantaneously, they lost whatever little piece of faith they had, went out the window, changed their mind. They're like, nah, you ain't about it. Nah. Change their mind, walk the other direction, immediately go find somebody.
Yeah, and you
else.
can see this. Yeah, you can see them almost like go from being inflated to deflated, like instantaneously.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, this man ain't for real. He just talking.
Oh yeah. And it's almost impossible to get any of that faith back, because it's like that first impression. It's like it's so magical. It's so magical that it's like when you get it, you gotta really, really, really like go above and beyond when you get it. You really do, and which actually kind of like paved the way a lot for my mission statement as far as even what I do professionally, is the fact that I'm very, very big on, you know, that first impression, you know, and even, you know, as you've already gotten a taste of the credibility, you've already started to see just on the little bit of a mention of what you said, you didn't even have to jot down A, B, C, D. You mentioned one thing, they automatically believed it, they automatically trusted it. It was like, okay, cool, I need you to do this for me. How much? When can you get it done? They're getting down to the business. They're not worried about well, prove it to me that you can do it.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Business recognizes business.
What's that?
Oh, I ain't mean to interrupt, but I was just saying, you know, like a business-minded person is going to recognize another business-minded person. So if we talk in the same language, I know that you know what I know, or at least you understand somewhat of it. So we can move forward without me having to break this down or explain it to you. So that's encouraging, because that's less work on me. Now I need you to do this service. What's your budget? Or how much do you charge? How soon can you have it done? That's business.
That is true.
From what I've learned.
That is true.
Yeah, you're going to negotiate, but most people, they have a deadline. Now, they give you a date, you can get them a price.
Yeah. So, and I do have to like segue and actually ask much more like in depth, because I think that, you know, your peers, you know, people who are around who are mesmerized by the look of what it looks like to be an artist. Like, wow, you must be able, you know, you can go to sleep whenever you want to, wake up whenever you want to, make all this money. You get to create cool stuff all day. Be on your own time, do your own thing. Like, it must be amazing, right? Behind the scenes, what a lot of people don't know, how is it that as you're creating something, and this is your take, when you're creating something, in a ratio of 1 to 10, how often do you actually find yourself enjoying what you're making as you're making it, even going through those processes of being exhausted throughout?
It depends. Cause that's a great question, and I was gonna hop right on it, but it depends, and I'm gonna tell you why. My most recent commission was with the city of Thomasville for some signs, like some street signs, which I had never done before, like never painted on metal, like concrete. Okay, walls, cool. Shoes, no problem. Metal was different. Like, I really had to prep the metal, like sand it down, metal fillers, spray paint. Like, I really had to learn teach myself some things. But as I was doing it, I got excited because I'm like, man, this probably gonna be my best piece ever. I ain't never prepped, the material before. And then as big as it was, it seemed smaller when I got them. When I started working on it, I'm like, man, this is a 3 foot by 3 foot, metal panel. Like, this is pretty big. So at first, I was like, man, I ain't trying to. Like, I was excited about it, but as I got more into the work, I'm like, man, I haven't even started drawing yet. It took me 2 days to prep them. But as I got more into what I was doing, and probably the most important part, and the part where I said what I said, they gave me complete freedom to do whatever I wanted. So I sent them sketches, but they didn't ask for a finished product, or they didn't say we need to look like this, like what you sent us. They just asked for the sketches to be approved and it to resemble what you sent in. So I was able to sit down and just paint how I wanted to. I didn't have any. I had time limits, but from the sketch I gave them, I could have made a watercolor painting, and they would have loved it. Just because it was a good art piece, but I really was able to enjoy the painting part of it past the prep. And that kind of gave me a lot of relief, because it's like, man, I wish I could paint what I wanted to right now. But I'm making money for this, and I get to choose what I want to paint. So, got to take that win.
That's a huge opportunity, to be able to, do what it is that you want to do, and somebody actually allowing you the space to do what you want to do, because they just want something of your style. They're like, just
right.
Here's the opportunity. Do whatever you want to do, and you notice how free it is.
Mm-hmm. And that shows that they don't just want an artist. That shows we like your style so much, we don't care what you do. We just want something you made, and that's a good feeling. That's a great feeling. It makes you want to be more original, and it makes you want to really, give them your all, because you know that they appreciate your art. Not to say, anything you do for people, you don't make sure they appreciate it. But when like, not somebody telling you, oh, thanks for coming out, we really appreciate it, couldn't have done it without you. But like, when you know and understand, when they make it abundantly clear, like, you were the show. Like, you just captivated us. We love your pieces. We love that you spoke. That makes me just want to like, hey, what do you guys need next? What's the next event?
Right.
Let's get started now. You know what I'm saying? Let's prep now so the piece can be even better than this one. Like, that's what makes me want to move. And as it should. Energy is reciprocated. I've worked with a lot of different companies. I've worked with individual people. Mm-hmm. You named it. But everybody operates differently. So when you come across those people who treat you with the respect or the adoration that you feel like you deserve or have earned, you kind of want to keep that. You want to build that relationship, and you want to do whatever you can for them, because it is. It's all business is business, but it could be a nasty business at times. When you meet someone who can be good to you or can give you consistent work, you try to work that contract out as soon as possible.
So, and I'm certain, because I'm going to strongly assume that those who are really starting to see success has also have their fair share of the speed bump, the pothole, something in the road that either could have slowed you down or, maybe swayed you to make a detour. Let me ask you, in regards to the types of businesses, because I think, you might be able to pick up on what I'm trying to steer towards. This is very important, but I like to really highlight, because I think that a lot of people misconstrue what it is to be an entrepreneur, to be a creative entrepreneur, as difficult as it is. What were some of the difficulties that you were thrown into and had to like dig your way out of, would you say?
Thrown into and had to dig my way out of. Okay. Let me see. I think this is a good example. I have accepted or told people I can get this done and I can do it. Whatever it was, whether it was a design, a mural, like he said, I do clothes, so like I would paint a jean jacket or whatever. And it'll get to the point to where not only am I cutting it close, but the customer themselves will just kind of put you in an uncomfortable position to where not only do I not want to do this anymore, like I almost just want to give you the bare minimum, but my name is going to be on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you can start something and then feel like we're not on the same page anymore, or even like, feel disrespected or something. And it's like, you paid me for the deposit. Like the second half is for the finished product.
Right. So when you say like uncomfortable position, what would you say that was like an uncomfortable position? Was it like attitude or like things that they would say?
Definitely. So like I said, everyone's different. So some people, matter of fact, you taught me this one, and I remember when you taught me. We was doing our second mural. We was doing the FAMU one on the ground.
Yeah.
And it was late night. It was super late night because we couldn't paint during the day because it was too hot. And you said you was doing a mural one time, and I think the lady had brought you out like some lemonade or working, and she appreciated that you weren't complaining, that you were getting the job done. You weren't really asking for much. You came out and was very professional, and she saw it not robbery to make sure that you were hydrated, you had something to drink, or things like that. So that's a perfect example of she didn't have to. I appreciate it, and it's a very nice gesture, but she didn't have to do that. She didn't, she didn't hire me to come here and drink her thing. Versus other clients or customers will, and it's not even necessarily about you personally, but just from a standpoint of how they operate. If we come to an agreement, say the budget for the paint is going to be $400. That should get you enough paint for whatever it is you're trying to do or what you've estimated. And say you get to the fourth gallon and you're like a gallon and a half short. So instead of just needing one, you're probably going to need 2 more gallons. That's going to be between $60 and $100.
Right.
Most times, anything under 50 is miscellaneous. Okay, that's fine. We budgeted, whatever. But once you get over that $75 range, hey, we didn't agree on this. What's the issue? And, just like anybody, a lot of people are very particular with their money. So if they budgeted to pay you $2,400 and $2,000 was for the services, say you ask for another $100 of paint, well, you're going to get $1,900.
Right.
The budget for the paint was $400. And you're saying, hey, I can't complete this, or hey, I really need that paint. And they're saying, I can get it for you, but we agreed on this total being $2,400. So now that we're kind of at odds, and I still have to come finish this, that person knowing that I kind of need a little bit more and they're not really willing to give it can make it uncomfortable for me, or vice versa. Or vice versa. Oh, you know what? It's probably going to be hard to finish this within the next 3 days if I don't have that paint. I really need it to make this look good.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be hard to pay you on time and your full amount if you don't finish it on the date that you said. We're really expecting this project to be finished.
Yeah.
So, it's a double-edged sword. But that's a passive-aggressive or, a politely aggressive way of saying, like, you need to get this done because we agreed on this.
Yeah.
And now you're in a position to where all of your true emotions are starting to pour out. Like what we were just talking about. First of all, I don't even want to do this mural. It's not my style. I was doing it for the money. Second of all, you're very rude, sir. If you know anything about it creative, we are into our own emotions. We are into vibrations. Most times, most artists have a particular spot, a particular song, a particular podcast, a very particular space in which they create. And
right.
You are bringing negative energy into the space you want me to create in. And it's like, people will be like, man, that's just it's a bunch of hoo-ha. You're all in your head. No, sir, you're not a creative. So you wouldn't. I don't expect you to understand. I don't play basketball. I play football. But I would not expect a basketball player to expect me to understand their pregame routine. Because ours and theirs are totally different. They pregame to sweat. Football pregames to warm up. Totally different.
You
different
respect
exercises,
the process.
Different playing fields. Exactly. I respect the process. I know that they have to do something to get ready to compete in their field, just like I do here. But again, if you don't know an artist, if you're not an artist, if you've never interacted with an artist, you're just saying, I like your work, I want you to come here and do this. You should be able to do it. I see it on your Instagram. You do it, no problem. I've seen videos you do it, other people. I see it, no problem. But you don't know how to talk to someone, or just how to handle business transactions.
Yeah,
it's gonna be you're gonna have those run-ins to where it's kind of like it's uncomfortable for you, and you just literally came to create. Like, look, man, I'm an artist. I want to share my art with the world. I appreciate you paying me for my services, and I appreciate you considering me. But most times, just like construction workers, artists work alone. You'll come back and be like, wow, he got a lot of work done today. But they're just in their zone doing what they do. You over their shoulder, you not supporting them in times that they have your item, product, or building in their hands isn't the brightest plan, in my opinion. Again, everybody operates differently. But if somebody was painting my house or my business that I've invested in, I'm not finna walk up and put rose petals on the ground, but I'm gonna make sure that they feel welcome.
Right. I think that in a lot of cases, very seldomly will you find somebody that they respect you, they respect what you do. They may not know how you do it, but because they love whatever it is that you produce, they're like, you know what? Let me get up out your way. Let me let you cook. And do you need anything? Okay, cool. All right, let me give you your space. Let me back up. Let me do something else. But then you will come across those ones who want to control the whole entire situation. And for whatever trust issue that they have, whatever, I would say, like, okay, let's say that they fell out with another artist or somebody else who should have done what they're trying to get you to do. So what they're doing is they'll end up letting you pay for the sins of the last guy.
Yeah.
They'll take it out on
like
you.
A heartbroken girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. You got to make up for whatever sloppiness
Somebody
that they
else's
did.
transgression.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And there's nothing like paying for something that you don't really know what the bill is.
Yeah.
So would you say...
You hit the nail on the head.
So I hear this term float around, and coming from Atlanta, I would say that, you know, I've grown a weird disdain for it, but it's partnership and collaboration. Any one of those words, right? And I say that because I've always felt that anytime that someone wants to bring up a collaboration or partnership, it almost always feels like they want the other person to do the work and they want to tag along on the bandwagon with them as the thing is getting created. Would you say that you've either seen that, or are you currently witnessing things like that where people want to collaborate with you so quickly without getting to know you, don't really know how you are, don't know how your work process is, but they immediately want to start cooking up with you like quickly?
Yeah, I have. And
Already?
just a quick reference back to the last thing you were saying about letting them cook. I think that's a perfect example. When you are, if anybody has ever been in the kitchen during a holiday and a lot of family members are around, the number one thing you don't do is hover around the kitchen. A man, or even the grill. If a man is on the grill, you ain't coming over his shoulder, hey, how the ribs doing? You let him cook. You let him cook. You understand he is in his space where he is creating something out of nothing. And I thought that was a great example. But as far as the collaboration and partnership is going, yes. I had the opportunity last year to have my art featured on a bus route in Pinellas County, like an hour away from my hometown. And it wasn't, it was actually an extended wrap, so it got to stay on from Juneteenth till December of 2023. And when it happened, it was surreal. Like the entire day, like it just didn't. I couldn't believe it. But from that point on, like from last year June till today, like, because people still be like, man, you made something on the bus, right? Man, that's dope. Instead of like people saying, hey, how you doing? I see your art, or I see this. They'll say exactly, literally like what you just said. Hey, man, I love your work, man. We should do something together. When, again, like I told you, I started in 2020. There was never these conversations. Like, I was begging people. Like, now when I go set up, I sit down and I paint. If somebody walks up, I'll stop and I'll talk to them. But if they don't stop walking, if they're not staring, if they don't look interested, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna paint. I'm not gonna beg you to look at my work. I know it's good. I know it's eye popping. If it don't catch your eye, hey, more power to you. But I'm not going to force my creativeness onto you. I'm just not going to do it. I don't. And it's not that I feel like I don't have to. I just don't. I feel like it speaks for itself. I shouldn't have to speak for something that has its own voice. So it's just gotten to the point to where it's more so. I appreciate them and their enthusiasm with saying, hey, man, let's collab, let's do this. But I'm more so, just like you said, I've done this collaboration thing on a major scale, on a minor scale. I know what I'm looking for. And I know, even when I did them, like, they did their research on me, I did my research on them to make sure there wasn't nothing funny going on.
Oh, yeah.
So somebody that approaches me immediately looking to partner tells me two things. Number one, well, no. It's some people are genuine in their interest, but they don't understand the entirety of what they're asking, especially from a partnership.
Right.
If they never really had one for real, like, oh, we just go half on everything and we split the profit. No, sir. No, sir. I need writing. I need to know exactly the ins and outs of everything before we do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll find that once you get a little bit of buzz about yourself, or your consistency starts to be more seen, people will say, they'll go from, oh yeah, how's your little art thing going, to, oh man, hey, I see you doing big things, man. You keep it up. I remember when you first started, bro. Like, you doing that thing now. And it's just like, it's almost comical because it's like people forget what they said to you, but you don't forget what they said to you, or you don't forget like how they reacted to like not even just social media posts, just you being at different places, you inviting them to things, and now they asking you like, hey man, when your next show? Hey, when's your next? Like, what's up next, man? What you doing now? I see you did this. They're like, what you doing? It's like, man, when I was begging you to come see me in somebody's backyard with a table and a sheet over the table,
Yeah.
I couldn't get you there.
Yeah.
But now, you see my art in different places, not on just one platform. You see it on multiple media. You see it in different business areas. Restaurants, barbershops,
Yeah.
in public settings. Now you're, oh man, bro, I see you've been doing your thing. Well, I could have been doing it better with a little support from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I don't say that, but in my head it's
That's
like,
what you're thinking.
imagine how much better I would have. Yeah, imagine how much more creative or how much better I would be had you told me how good my work was a year ago, or when you first saw me. And Snapchat. Go ahead.
No. It's interesting that you say that, because I automatically know, not specifically, but I know who it is that says that to you. And for a while, I've always had this, I don't even want to say it's a chip over my shoulder, but I've always had this burning feeling in my head that's been bogging my mind, where I felt like, when it pertains to like our people, right? People of color.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think what it is because we've been so stricken of gratitude, we don't even know how to properly give it.
Yep.
And so
you can't give what you've never received. You can't give it. It's impossible.
You're in a weird place of, well, do I have empathy for a person who's never had it before, or do I just ignore it and become a part of the problem? And let that cycle return. It's insane that sometimes, and I will be thinking, wow, is it really that hard just to say good job? Like, go out your way to say good job, keep it up.
Yes, it is.
Apparently it is.
Really, it is. No, it is, because I don't know if you watch SpongeBob, but it's one of the older episodes. It was the April Fool's episode where he embarrassed him in the Krusty Krab, and he had went home and he was crying.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was like, April Fool's, you jerk. Squidward had never, ever, ever told SpongeBob he was sorry. And I know it's a cartoon reference, but it's perfect. He never told the man he was sorry. He complained about him every day, he messed with him, whatever, he worked with him. But he had never told him he was sorry. So when it was time to tell him, he couldn't do it. Like, he couldn't muster, he couldn't get the words out of his mouth because he had never done it. Just like anybody else. We are visionaries. As an artist, we see the end result from a blank canvas, or at least we know an idea where we're going. But that's called vision, seeing something that's not there, or seeing it on your own. If you don't have that vision, if you've never lived in that environment, if you've never experienced this, how can you give it to me? How can you really tell me thank you if you've never told somebody thank you?
Right. Well, how can you say thank you if you've never felt thankful?
Boom. I deserve this.
Right.
I'm telling you thank you. You were supposed to do this. Why would I say good job? Why would I pay you if I didn't think it was going to be a good job? Because it's a good job. I paid you for a good job, so tell me good job. But, again, you don't know that if you've never been taught that. Hey, one more, last one. Eric, the most basic table etiquette. Don't eat with your elbows on the table. We could go out to a team dinner. Everybody at the table. I mean, you can eat with your mouth open, napkins everywhere, whatever. But you won't see any elbows on the table. And if you do, somebody always asks, kids or adults, it never says, hey man, why your elbows on the table? I'm just eating. What you mean? Oh, ain't nobody ever tell you not to put your elbows on the table when you eat? No. Where do you go from there? The rules of how to eat. Oh, he don't know not to put his elbows on the table. He don't know to chew with his mouth shut. My house tell me to do it, and if my mama don't tell me to do it, I'm dang sure not gonna listen to you.
Yeah, there is that. There's definitely that. So would you say?
But that's the thing. If my family don't congratulate me, my family don't congratulate me. Who do you think you are? And what you think you finna get from me?
Right. It goes back into and repeats. And you know what's crazy? Because I can say for myself, and I would call it a conditioning, right? Where throughout the years, I didn't always get gratitude. I did not always get good job, keep going. I always got the you should do something else. Find something better to do that's gonna make some money. Oh, that's cool. Oh, you still doing that little art thing. Oh, that's cool.
They love to put that little on there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, you still doing that little? Oh, how's that little art thing coming along? Right? And it's like, wow,
yeah,
okay. And you just keep taking it, and then to the point to where it's like they start to look at you weird. Like you can tell they want to ask you about what it is that you do, but they don't because they don't want.
They don't know how.
They don't know how, and they also don't want to be shamed, and they don't want to feel like you might make them look stupid because it's all in the look. It's like if I look at you and like, oh, he really didn't came up. Oh, he ain't playing. If I ask him this, he might clown me. He might embarrass me. This may not be a good look for me. When I know I didn't give him the accolades that he deserved. The fact that he is still doing, like he's still working. He's still staying with it. Which, as you know, in our community, we don't stay with anything long.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, especially if we bring up any reservation or if they have any restriction on it, or we gonna, hey man, it's too hard. I tried.
Yeah. Or it's like, all right, I'm about to put 2 weeks on this. If nothing don't shake in 2 weeks, that's it for me. That's it.
Yep, hanging it up.
And it's like, if you look at that, it's like, I appreciate that you putting like a structure on it, but then look at it. You say I'm gonna get his 2 weeks, but what did you do in the 2 weeks that you had? Most cases, they don't ever really go hard with it.
Yep, they're looking for an excuse.
Yeah,
why I couldn't get done.
A justification, an excuse, just something, just to say, well, I gave it 2 weeks, nothing happened. Oh well.
Well, I tried. Mm-hmm.
Well, I tried. And that's the mentality for it. Yeah, that's it. That's the exact mentality for it. So, our community is something else when it does come down to doing something that's nuanced. It's not new, honestly. You know, we're just bringing it back. Art is not new, you know, and I think what it is in this microwavable TikTok brain society, I think that, you know, a lot of people are used to, you know, microwavable dopamine hits and results. So whenever they're hit with somebody who actually has a real skill, a real talent, they don't know how to act. You know, it's like a glitch. It's weird. Very much like a glitch.
Yeah.
So with that same sentiment, right? So tying into the title of the show, Burn Bridges. Like, let me ask you this. When you hear burn bridges, what do you think of, or what do you think it means to have a burn bridge?
It means a relationship that can't be rekindled. It means it means something that happened that probably ended something that was good. Because it was a bridge, and a bridge normally help people across things. So if it's burned, probably ain't helping you no more.
So would you say it's a permanent thing if you fall out with somebody?
It depends on what the falling out is, and how offended or how bad, a scale of 1 to 10, either party feels about it. Because some people have zero tolerance for things, and other people, they'll be upset, and they won't recant what they said, but say like you reach back out, they'll be like, hey, I just had a hot head, wanted to apologize. We loved your work, it was just a lot going on, or we love to have you back, something like that. So it really just depends on the nature of what happened, and if you or the party feels comfortable doing business with each other again.
So has there been a case of like a partnership, or collaboration that you and another artist tried to do, and at first it started out great, communication was all popping, everything was on point. Something happened, and immediately you all wanted to split, do your own thing, or they bailed on you, or vice versa. Like, has that happened to you yet?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, like about a year ago today, actually, thinking about it. When I pitched my idea to Urban Outfitters, I initially just wanted to sell my art, but because I was coming off of what I had just done with JCPenney and what they awarded me besides, yes sir, and what they had awarded me besides my design being featured on clothes was an apprenticeship. So I was learning from all of their designers, and I was like, you know what? Let me make my own clothes. And when I did that, I had already met this guy to another event we had, but he told me he wanted to work together. So I was like, hey, pitching this idea, just got a little bit of steam, wanted to make some clothes or something I could kind of be like the centerpiece for this collaboration.
Yeah.
And I love this work. He had gave me something before, so I was like, you know what? Let me call this guy. I've been thinking about doing something like this. So did it. First, everything was great. He gave me complete creative control, and we finally agreed on a design. Got the money thing situated. Got the logistics, how we're gonna do everything, how we're gonna split up the product, what we're gonna do after the release date. Everything was great until the day of the event, and it's kind of crazy because, like I said, I pitched it. I typed up a proposal, gave it to the store manager, talked to her on the phone, got everything done, and it was a local market day, but all the vendors, it was during Black History Month, so all the vendors, I personally invited them. I asked them to come out, made sure that their products were up to standard, so we wasn't in there looking like, on the side of the road with a tent and
wasn't looking crazy.
Fruit. Like we're gonna be in the storefront. Like right when you walk in, we had a DJ, we had a food truck. It was awesome. We had a photo shoot inside the store. Everybody made money. It was just an awesome day. So throughout the day, I noticed, because again, we had split our shirts. We had the same, or jackets. They were jackets or hoodies that we dropped. We had the same table, but I had my own table for my art, and then the other brand, they had like a small table, but the jackets were like connected to the table I was at. So they were connected to my table, but I still had my own table, and all the jackets were around it. So during the day, I noticed that my partner was collecting cash, which, hey, no problem. But that's not, I can't calculate your cash sales. And I'm not going to ask you to tell me how many you sold. Like, this is the release date. And we've been splitting everything up until this point. Well, not only did he take cash And not even mention it, when he showed me the numbers for us to split the money, because we did pre-sales, we probably did about between 15 and 20 in pre-sales. I know for a fact 8 to 10 of them came from me because of my people were sending me like receipts like, hey, we want to support you. We already pre-sold, da 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 da. Well, all the pre-sales were through his website. But I only did that because I didn't have my own website. I didn't know, and he, it was a lot of stuff I just didn't know. So he's seeing money before the release date, and he's seeing money during the release date that I have no idea how much it is.
Dog.
Like, at all. And then, let me tell you how good he was. He was good. And this, I learned my lesson, but I was making so much money. Well, no, I'll skip the part. That day when I asked him about the money, he was like, yeah, all the extra money from the pre-sales, I had to pay for shipping. And then the cash, he didn't show me any of the cash. He just showed me his virtual sales from that day. And I didn't bring it up because in my mind, it's like, after I saw that, all I could think about was like, what else could he have possibly burnt me on this deal? I had the product, and I got it on the day that I needed it, and the release date was great. And the jacket, I sold out in a month. Sold 60 jackets in 30 days. $60, $70 jackets in 30 days. And I could have made more money.
Right.
Matter of fact, I did make more money. I just didn't know to be on top of it. I believed that this partner of mine who, oh yeah, man, we should work together. To this day, I have not seen him replicate that success.
Right, it was just a momentous thing.
Yeah, and I was the momentum. I had never created clothes. I had made some clothes, but created and then sold them.
Right.
I had never done that. I was customizing. At this point, I was marketing.
That's cold.
No, it is, and it's crazy because I made, like I said, we sold I sold 60 even,
right?
Like 30 days, like spring from February 18th to spring break 2023. I ran out of jackets, ran out. Like people still asking me to this day because I had opportunity to get one to Lil Tyler, and he actually put it on. So when I reposted that video, people were like, hey man, you got any more of those? Nope, fresh out. He literally got the last one, and I saved it for him because when I dropped it, I reached out to his manager, and he was supposed to, give me the address. Never did, but I ain't give up hope, and thank God I didn't. But yeah, man, like I probably made between $3,000-$4,000 somewhere around there because the jackets was only like $35-$40 to make. Sold them at $70. The release date we sold them at $80. Sold them at $70. So we was making about $30-$40 each jacket. On top of, we jacked up for pre-sales and all of that. And and when we split, like I said, we split the price, the original price of the jacket. So one a lot of investment, but it was a lot of return. But I didn't see all of my return. And from that day on, not only did I make my own things and my own clothes, but I realized like I was kind of timid in designing the clothes because I had never done it. But when I saw the reaction from people and how they were willing to pay for what I had set the price at, if I work with somebody else again, I'm only going to send them my contract if they don't send me theirs. If I don't have something in writing, I'm not doing it. I'll do it myself. Because I believe the what he pitched to me, I believed it so much that I invested with him.
Oh.
So he did what he was supposed to do. Right. He did what he was supposed to do. He got these jackets that he wanted to design. He got somebody to go half with him, and then he made all his money back before I knew what was going on. On top of having the extra jackets left that he couldn't sell. Matter of fact, he hit me up like a month later. Hey, you got any jackets left? Nah, I sold out. Why, you still got some?
So you were a lick. Essentially.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And he couldn't even move the product. an easy lick. I couldn't.
It's
I
something
couldn't
when they
keep,
say like it be your own.
yeah, and it does, because I couldn't keep them in the box. They was already packaged up. I couldn't keep them in the box. I was shipping out a jacket every other day, if not every day, and sometimes more than one. And it's like, had I done this on my own,
yeah,
it would have cost more, but I would have seen all of that money. Every jacket I sold, I would have saw that money.
Well, that labor, that hard work that you put into it, and again, there's something to it where I would say this, because there's no strategic, purposeful way on how to really get to that degree of this is what you got to go through to get to that other side of the mountain. And I hate that it's almost looking like going through this type of stuff is almost necessary. I hate that it looks like that.
Yeah.
Because it really shouldn't be. At least that's in feeling. Because now, at least you're saying, okay, your thought is, instead of me being bitter, instead of me, being angry, I'm going to just use this as momentum to do better, to look out for myself on the next time, so that way I can prevent this from happening again.
Well, and then that's just the thing too, like, it wasn't like this is like the 500th time this has happened. That was my first time, and
right.
I can tell you from experience, a lot of the first time things you do as an artist or entrepreneur, you don't really see a lot of success. You get a lot of lessons.
Yeah.
But I got both. I
Yeah.
saw success, I made money, but I also got lessons. So,
A lot of lessons.
I mean, it's honestly, yeah, like you said, it's a part of the game. It's a terrible part, but it's hard to learn not to touch the stove if you never get burned.
Well, I literally learned that. My dad told me, don't touch that stove. He told me about 2-3 times. And he was like, all right, okay, I done did my part. Oh, well. I done touched that stove. Burnt the heck out of my hand. Since then, I was like, okay, all right, I got it. I figured it out. Okay. I ain't gonna keep doing it. I ain't gonna keep trying. And so,
right.
I don't want to assume, but like, from that experience, would you say that it has rapidly matured you into a much more refined businessman, now knowing that, okay, I got to keep my eye sharper on this. I got to go through a checks and balance, further.
Day and night. It only take one time to realize how much money you lost to not lose that much again. Take one time. One time.
Just one time.
And it's one of those lessons to where you'll always think about it, like, man, what if I'd have made that extra $1,000? What if I had listened to that advice? What if I'd have slowed down and thought about what I was doing instead of just trying to rush and get my product ready for the release date? What if I had planned better?
Isn't it crazy?
What if I got this in writing?
Isn't it crazy that it be the moments when you probably really need the money the most is when that happens?
Yeah, that's always when it happens.
And it's like, dang.
You're desperate. You need this right now. It's not a want. I actually need this to happen. Like,
but you almost fall subject of,
more.
Like, hey, I'll accept anything because I need something.
People can sense that in you.
Yes, they can.
People can sense when you absolutely need something. Like when you say, man, I'm hungry, man, versus like, man, I'll eat anything.
Oh, yeah.
I'm starving.
Oh, yeah.
Sense that. And it's like, okay, if I know, if you hungry, I mean, I could probably do something, make you do something for some food, but you're not like to the brink of, I got to get this right now. If you're starving, and I said, hey, dance for this cheeseburger, before I say cheeseburger, you're going to start tap dancing.
Yeah.
But I know this. I know you're in a desperate situation, and I know I got you over a barrel. So what I'm going to do? I'm going to hold you hostage.
To take advantage. I would probably say, I would say that most of my intro beginning stages, I was taken advantage of tremendously because, I didn't have the guidance. I would say I really didn't have good judgment, didn't have the guidance. So if you mix those two together, poor judgment skills and then also no guidance, you fall susceptible to all kinds of stuff. Very easy, very, very easy. And it didn't help that I had those two things and I was talented. So you put those three things together, I'm constantly bumping my head, so much so that somebody on the outside could say, well, you shouldn't have to go through all that just to get to so and so. But see, the people who would say that wouldn't be the ones to correct it or contribute or to lend advice or to add something to my hat. They would just comment and then just walk away and leave me to my own devices.
Yep.
But I would say that you did great by not allowing something like that situation turn you bitter. I can say for one, where I messed up, where a lot of the same type of situation that you've had, I've had that and I've had worse. And because where my headspace was at the time, I allowed it to make me bitter. I really, really did. So it's a strange thing to be a bitter artist. Imagine trying to create things that are supposed to make people happy, but you're bitter. That don't make no kind of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, and I can see where you're coming from with, kind of picking that up, because it does. It rubs you the wrong way. You feel disrespected. You feel like, how could this, why would this happen to me? I was out here with just good intentions, trying to get my stuff going and trying to sell my art, share my message with the world, and then it's even worse because, like you said, it's normally us. There ain't really too many other races that we have problems with when it comes down to financial transactions.
Yeah.
But our own. So it's discouraging, it's dispiriting. It makes you feel like if I can't get this with my own people, how am I going to get a deal with somebody else? Or how am I going to get people to respect me in another community? But it's just one of those things to where, like I said earlier, when you asked me how do you manage all of that with a regular life, regular issues, or when you're in a dry spell, or when people aren't buying art, then you gotta love what you're doing. You got to.
You do.
If you don't, you'll put it down.
Would you even say that
You'll put it down.
bad people like good and bad people? Because if they see a light in you and they see, oh, look at X, he loves what he do. He almost seems like he'll do anything if he can do his art. Let me try to see if I can get something off him for free.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can get a discount for free. Right? Let me see if I can come up. Let me try to make a couple dollars off of him real quick. But it doesn't even seem like the money fazes him. He seemed like he loves the art more than anything. That means I can come in, do my thing, and he ain't gonna mind. Because guess what? He's cool like that. You see how somebody can almost ruin that?
Right.
But because you're you, you're
ruin it for everybody after them.
Oh yes, or at least they potentially could. But because you're naturally that way, like your charisma, somebody else trying to change how you are ruins it for the next person who probably needs somebody like that in their life. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
and they don't even know it.
They don't even know it, and then they're wondering, wow, why is this? Dang, I only asked him how much it was. I didn't think that he was gonna, bite at me like that. Like I just thought that I'm asking a harmless question, or, I have a real question and concern. I didn't know he was gonna snap at me like this. People, I've seen artists. I would say in town, in Tallahassee, I would say that I've seen artists get obnoxious and rude with people who are asking a genuine question. But it's like they sound jaded and just bitter. Like they sound like the grumpy old man that don't want nobody playing in his yard. You know?
You kids, get off my lawn.
Exactly. So throughout that awkwardness, because I would say this, like, it is an awkward thing to go through, but to a degree I do find it necessary in regards to, having skin in the game, having some maturity and taking even yourself more serious. Like, what were some of the things that you were able to scrape from those ashes of that burnt bridge to then cultivate and create something fresh, new out of that, from that?
I learned to trust myself. I was very not nervous about the design, but I was very like, man, it's over 100 jackets. Like, if they don't like these, I'm gonna have a box full of jackets. So, just trusting my own work, trusting the process, being more thorough with who I'm going to work with, being more thorough with what I'm going to do. It taught me a lot of lessons, actually. Everything that went wrong, I overemphasize it now. So budget, overemphasize. Product, overemphasize. Advertisement, overemphasize. Schedule for posting, overemphasize. Pre-sales, everything that I felt like I could have done better, or I've seen since I've done it, and I felt like, man, what if I'd have done that? Is what I think about. And I haven't, matter of fact, it's about that time of the year now for me to pitch for my next product, because I normally try to do it around Juneteenth or Black History Month.
Yeah.
So that it's not so much of a, well, why is it so much, black in your art? Where's the art? Like, well, I hate to have to explain to you that my culture is art, but I will. I'll do it again. So yeah, I try to get in where I fit in on that end. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things to where how many times are you gonna hit your head on this door panel before you duck, or how many times do you have to hit it? How many times are you gonna bump your knee on the coffee table, or stub your toe on the end of the bed before you avoid it, or before you take preventative measures? I only need one time. I'm not a glutton for punishment. One and done. Okay, we ain't doing that no more. Glad we got it out of the way.
Yeah, because you got some people that they will see the car coming, get hit by the car, complain about the pain, recover, and go right back in the street and do the same thing.
Like nothing happened.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, you do have those people who they look for it. They do look for it. I mean, overall, that's beautiful, man, that you've been able to, prevail and look through that and actually really just be honest about what it is. And I say that because from what I've seen on social media, it's not that I've had this feeling of, dang, it's always annoying when people look at somebody on social media and immediately got this thought process of, oh wow, X is doing all this and that, I want to do it too. It looked like it's easy. Oh, I want to do it. Oh, I bet he's making bread. Let me see how I can get into that. Cool. Like, they get into it for some of the strangest reasons, but not even at the fact that you actually enjoy something that is hard. So you sharing the true difficulties of what you actually have to go through, I think more of that needs to be shown, because I think a lot of people will have more realistic expectations and not just glamorize, just fall in love with what it looks like. Would you say?
I totally agree, and I feel like that process is what you don't show. Like, I'm not gonna show you be up all night, bagging up shirts, putting prices on them, finishing sketches right before they're due. Like, I'm not gonna show you that. Yeah, I'm gonna show you my success. Yeah, I'm gonna show you where I work hard and the fruits of my labor. You know, that's what I want to show you. Just like anybody else on social media, you're not gonna show us, you know, the rent bill due and you know, all we got in here is PB and J. We're gonna show you going out to the club. We're gonna show you out at a sporting event. You're gonna show what you want people to see, how you want them to view your life. You're not gonna show them, you know, the ins and outs of the ups and downs. That takes courage and vulnerability. Something a lot of people don't. Oh man, he went through all of that. Wow. You know, everybody doesn't have that. So,
well, I noticed.
I completely agree.
I noticed that even in a lot of what your work is, you know, I would say that a lot of people are like hesitant about being put in a box or what they perceive as being put in a box. So I noticed that you've picked a lane or a primary focus with your art as far as you tell the Black story, right? And you illustrate a visual of the Black story. Have you ever gotten that feedback that people thought that, oh, he only seems to just do Black art? I don't think he can do anything else. It's like he can just do Black art. What do you say to that?
I say to that, and I try to be as polite as possible, but I tell them, like, I have a preference. Like, I know some artists, they can draw Goku, Sonic, and Mario in 30 minutes. Like, detail, like Nintendo, Toriyami, and the other company did it themselves, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you ask them to sketch a person, they could do it, but would they want to?
Right.
Is that where their heart is? Is this why I started doing art? To do something you want me to do, and something that you find appealing, or something that gives me room for expression, something I connect with, something that gives me a purpose to create, something that gives me a message without words. So it's kind of hard to say how I would put that politely, depends on how I'm approached. But
right.
I mean, honestly, I just try to respectfully say, like, I feel like what I paint needs to be represented because I don't see it. I see a bunch of art, I see a bunch of representation, but I don't see a bunch of me. In fact, I rarely see it. And when I do see it, it's on the news getting choked, killed, or dehumanized.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I want to paint images of what I want to see and what I have seen, you know, throughout my existence versus what is perceptive of me.
You want to change the narrative.
Yep, one painting at a time.
Where'd you get X from?
Malcolm.
Powerful brother. Very, very powerful.
My favorite.
I find it very interesting that he's come up a lot more, and I would say in the past 5 years, he's come up more frequently than he used to. You ever notice that in social media?
Well, I have, yeah. And that's because of the circulation of knowledge. A lot of people like to champion themselves as historians or knowing Black history or, you know, the things that they were taught in school. But a lot of the most important history, especially about Black people, is normally taught at home or through self-discovery, self-research. So Malcolm is one of those iconic brothers that requires self-research because you're not going to get a lot about them in a United States school board book because they don't want to teach young Black kids to love themselves and, you know, to stand up for what's right. They want to teach them to have a dream that one day we can all get along. And there's nothing wrong with that dream, but dream. It was a dream for a reason, not a goal. Dreams are fictional. They are created. A goal is realistic. It's attainable. Not to say that his dream wasn't, but you can push that. You can push that notion easier. You can pedal that notion a lot easier than pedaling some of the speeches that Malcolm gave.
Right. And I think
he kind of falls to the backside of history because of that.
And I noticed that, and I would also even say, because it does dive into, the social politics, because as you know, art is a huge contributor of that, because as you're starting to tell painful narratives, like when you see the imagery, a certain group of people, if you will, look at that and they wonder, I wonder what he means by this. That's probably the tagline of what they're first thinking before they decide to stare at it, look at it, and it opens up, and the next thing you know, they're starting to discover little bit as art unfolds, and they start to see like, wow, I get the message without him telling me. This is deep.
Yep. And that's the goal, provoke those conversations.
I've always been an avid person who has been intrigued about things that use discretion, things that use subliminal messaging, things that are not always obvious, but something that when you look at it, you have to keep looking at it because it keeps telling you something different than just a one-off. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I would say that even, from meeting you, and I'll even give you my first impression, from even, when we first met. And I'll tell you that prior to me having a style or, looking into, what exactly the type of art that I wanted to do, I know I wanted to do something with color. And I've been big on just the image of, let me make something beautiful. And I know it seems like it's a very broad category, right? And I know that there's plenty of categories out here, but the representation of who's working those categories is slim in itself. Like, you take you are aware of not only what you do, but how people perceive you when they see you. You don't come off as a radical. You don't come off as an angry black man. You come off educated and tame, which isn't weak, right? But in the perception that in the eyes of most people, would you agree with me that people always go to the negative? Even you paint, it don't matter how beautiful you can make something, they're gonna find something negative about it.
Yeah, but that's, again, we can circle right back to that upbringing and those personal feelings. They are more than likely the pessimistic person in their friend group. They are the person who can turn a great day into, we still had to wait in line. Like, they'll literally find a reason to complain, to be heard, to have something to say, or because, again, they don't know any better. And as much as I want to fault people like that, I can't be upset that you don't know how to I don't want to say act. No, but that you don't know how to necessarily behave. You know what I'm saying? In this type of setting.
I think it is, yeah. Because you're not, you know what it is? You're not making us look like a fool. So there's something to call out. It's like, I have a problem with you because you're not making us look like a fool. As crazy as that sounds. Because if you were doing, buffoonery, and just doing something for likes and clicks, no one would have an issue with you on that level. You know, no one would be bothered. But because you're telling stories, specific type of stories, you know, from what I can tell and what I've seen you tell stories of relationships, dynamics. I've seen you talk about, you know, the relationship between a child and a father, a son and a father, daughter and a mother. A lot of the painful things that a lot of us sweep up under the rug. I've seen you tell those types of stories, those sensitive topics in your art without you having to talk about it.
And that's kind of the essence of what I really want to do. Like, I feel like art shouldn't just be something pretty to look at. Like, it should tell a story. It should have a message. And I try to refrain from using words. Not to say I don't love art with words on it, but me personally, I try to refrain from that so that it's not so obvious. Like, you kind of have to read through and figure out where you thought I was going, or what you think I'm trying to say. Because then I feel like it sticks in your mind more. Like, man, that painting from earlier today, that exhibition is just like, or make you take a picture of it on your phone, or, you know, even better, the next step, buy a print. So I really just want to invoke those emotions, invoke those conversations and feelings when I have that time to do so, or the opportunity.
And that do you think that that's something that you've put a major weight on your shoulders? Because you are aware that you are one in few who is essentially changing the narrative as far as the outlook of those who look like you.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I really don't, because I've heard this a lot before, but you know, as you get older, you understand why you heard things when you were younger. Never in a million years thought I'd be an artist. Like, proudly walking up to people telling them, oh yeah, I'm an artist, I'm a designer. Like, never. I was the football guy. I was the all-around guy. You know, I thought I was going to be a teacher or a businessman. And, I mean, technically, I kind of did both. Because I'm a businessman now, and I was a teacher before. But it was not in the capacity I thought. So now it's kind of like in the sense of, I don't think of what I'm doing on a grand scale, because I feel like I feel like a shrimp in the ocean. That's what I feel like when it comes to the art world, because there's so much before me, so much going to be after me. Anything can be art. A flat on the wall can be art, a scribble. You got actual painters, you got people who doodle. You know, it's a lot. So I just feel like, now as far as my community is concerned, I can kind of see that, because I don't see many black artists, and the ones I've been fortunate enough to meet, those are the guys that kind of knew. Another guy I met at an art show in Atlanta, and then now that I'm back home in Lakeland, I have another mentor, all black artists, and the only black artists I've met that have been welcoming and open enough to kind of give me a little bit of guidance or encouragement when I need it on a project, or if we're working on something together. So that I have noticed, but I don't think about it. That's not, you know, I don't go into canvas like I'm one of 10,000 black people in America that's doing this right now. Like, it does seem kind of cool to say it like that, but nah, like, I'm an artist in the community. My subject matter is just an uncomfortable topic for people.
Yes.
It's something that people don't know how to talk about. So, nah, I don't. I feel like those uncomfortable conversations need to be had anyway. It's the reason we are in uncomfortable situations, because nothing has ever been explained. It's just been swept under the rug or pretended to be like it never happened.
Exactly.
Which is worse for the problem. But, yeah.
Well, I agree. I don't believe that art should just look good, but I do believe that, you know, there is no one service, you know, for art. I do believe that there's some art that serves a purpose, that it needs to beautify landscape, but then there's also art that needs to tell a story, you know, rewrite narratives. Because right now we live in a very strange Arkham Asylum right now. And I would say that, you know, as a fellow contributor, you to the culture. I too look for, representing as best as I possibly can. I just think that it's just something about we gotta make art. We gotta make it something that it has a utility, but it needs to be something where it's not always treated as and looked at as a hobby and as an option, but something that has a utility and it's a tool that can influence and utilize in ways that words can't.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I say that in regards to this walk in art, would you say to a degree that it has saved your life in a way?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it has saved my life. It saved my life in the means of giving me a foundation in this path I've chosen. Because art isn't just my career. It's my hobby. It's my passion. It's my love. So having that discipline of just, like you said, I don't get to wake up and do what I want to do. I don't get to just lollygag or present some garbage or something just thrown together, that expectation. And in my adult life, a lot of athletes don't know what they're going to do after sports or after they leave college, because everybody doesn't make it to be that 1%. So I saved my life not in the sense of my physical life, but my mental health.
Yes.
And my physical well-being. Because people don't understand how bad stress can kill you. You get a heart attack, you get brain aneurysm.
Yes.
It can literally shut your body down. So having this outlet, having this business, having this forever lesson of becoming a better artist, it's a lifelong thing. There's no, I'm the best artist in the world. It'll never be one. There's too many. So having this journey to grow as an artist and as a person and as a businessman, it has saved my life, because it gives me something to, live for outside of, my Lord and Savior and my daughter. It gives me something personal to wake up and get after every day. And I love it.
Very beautiful, man. Very, very beautiful. And I appreciate, you giving your take, giving your spin, and I think more behind the scene voices need to be heard, especially, you out here making noise in these streets, and I commend you, and I thank you, for making us look good, and those that look like you look good as well. You're not taking away, you're contributing greatly, and if you don't take anything else from me, I tell you, as someone who feels like a veteran, but I'm not. I'm still a student of the craft. Like, keep your head up and keep drawing until you can't. That's all you can do.
I got you, bro.
100%.
I got you.
Well, that wraps it up. 100%. Yes. I greatly appreciate you for coming through to the show.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the consideration and the invitation.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Burn Bridges, brought to you by The Creative Catalyst. I'm your host, Michael Crown. You all have a good night.